Number 27. This is a transition question, okay? It's very easy to tell, and in English you always want to go to the answer choices first to figure out what type of question it is. It saves you a ton of time, which may or may not be an issue for you on the ACT English. Who knows? Okay, so here we see therefore, for instance, that is, and then here the word is however that should be underlined. So, however, should we use however, therefore, for instance, or that is? These are very clearly transition words. So all of these, for example, nevertheless, they transition from one idea to the next. So there is an approach to these questions that I recommend doing, and it is perhaps sounds a little like overkill, and it's not. It simplifies it, makes it fast, and it makes it so that you don't make as many simple mistakes. You need to identify the two ideas that you're connecting. That is step one. So we're going to figure out idea one and idea two. So idea one is probably before this. It's not always going to be where they're on either side of the word, but that's how it often is. So let's start at the beginning of this paragraph. Brightly lit stations welcomed the public, many of whom were skeptical of traveling underground. It didn't take long for New Yorkers to adapt, however. Actually, the two ideas are before the however, because however or any of these words can be put at the end of a sentence, at the beginning, and you have to figure out contextually what two ideas it's connecting. So the first idea is the brightly lit stations and that the public was skeptical. So I'm going to write skeptical and brightly lit. Not sure which of those two ideas matters yet. Then the second idea is actually going to be the sentence that precedes however. It didn't take long for New Yorkers to adapt. Not long to adapt. Now what should catch your eye is that we have a negative here. We say it's not long. So when you have a negative, it would make me lean towards there's some sort of difference here. We are contrasting. So let's see. We have the idea that New Yorkers are skeptical. It didn't take long for them to adapt. So the idea here, contextually, is that they lit the subways brightly because people were a little uncomfortable about traveling underground. It didn't take them long to adapt. So there's a contrast there, right? It's not going to be therefore. I think B is bad because saying therefore it didn't take them long to adapt, there's no reason why it wouldn't take them long to adapt. I don't understand D in context here at all, so I'm not going to get rid of it, but let's see what works better. And then we have for instance. This one is tricky because if you think of the word however as connecting the idea here with the idea that comes after it, it might seem like a for instance, which is, for instance, for example, but there needs to be contrast between these two ideas. So I don't like for instance, and D doesn't make sense to me because there's no contrast there and it seems just like a silly thing to say in this context. It does make sense to say A. So here, I like however, because it creates the contrast between New Yorkers are skeptical of traveling underground, however, they adapted very quickly.